You're listening to Zoom the TBT with Charge and Hayner.
This is Zoom the TBT of Charge and Hayner. As you'll notice, Charge is not here. He is traveling today, but we have a lot of guests to make up the slack, and I'm very excited. We have invited pretty much the entire brain trust of Bleed Green, last year's darlings. We have co-GMs DJ Draper and JJ Murray, and star big man Zachary Simmons. Guys, how you guys doing tonight?
Great. Thanks for having us.
Good.
Yeah,
Dude,
doing
awesome.
good.
Awesome to have you guys on. So real quick, before we get into the slides and talk about the teams, first of all, how did this team come together? Either DJ or JJ, like how did this whole team come together? How did Bleed Green come to be?
I'll let JJ tell this story.
Yeah, so this has been, I would say, 4 or 5 years in the making. So we all played at one point together at UNT. I think it was DJ's senior year, 2020, maybe even the summer before 2019. We saw Marshall's alumni team heard that play, and obviously it was a lot of players, them being another Conference USA school, a lot of players we had played against, and we thought like it was pretty cool. And so me and DJ were like, dang, like it'd be cool to have a team in that tournament one year. And so he finished up his senior year, and I had a couple years left to play, and we kind of always, when the TBT comes on in summer, we always talk about it because it's all guys that we either played against or we've seen play. And so I finished up last April, and you know, I don't know, one day I may have saw a post or something about TBT, and I hit up DJ and was like, hey, what do you think? We have a lot of momentum right now. We're coming off 4 postseason championships, 3 in a row, and we were just kind of like, if there's any time, it's now. And so, you know, we got the support from our athletic department, and we hit up Dan, and he kind of gave us a blueprint. And he told us we had a chance, and that's all we needed to hear. And so from there, we just kind of made some calls, got some players, and the rest is history.
Now, DJ, talk about having a chance. Last year, you guys were, I believe, a 7 seed in the first round of Wichita. And did anybody really give you guys a chance against Eberline Drive?
I don't think anyone did give us a chance, you know, especially you. I think you might have been one of the guys that gave us some bulletin board material for the game. But that's okay. We've at North Texas, we always had a chip on our shoulder. We always knew that we're the underdogs going into things. So this is something new this year. Being the 2 seed, this is new for us, for sure.
Well, it's a well-earned seed. I mean, you guys knocked off Eberline and K-State, the alums. So, I mean, you guys have definitely knocked off 2 pretty powerful TBT programs. And it's weird because first-year alumni teams often struggle, and you guys were able to get past that really well. Now, Zachary, you played last year. How were you guys able to get past this last year? Because, like, it is often difficult for first-year alums. How were you guys able to rout the box, make a Super 16?
I mean, these 2 guys put together a great team. You know, we had a good group of guys, high character, and just wanted to go win. Everybody kind of had something to prove. So, you know, you get out there and tournament, single elimination, especially, you know, you win that first game. That's what it's all about. Because after that, you know, you can just get the ball rolling, and it's just, you know, a coin toss at that point.
Yeah. I always think it's interesting with these. I won't say smaller schools unfair. In fact, anybody who follows college basketball knows North Texas will be an American athletic squad next year. And anybody who follows our show knows I'm a huge Memphis fan, so we will be rivals next year. So this will be my last chance to root for North Texas for a while, because next year I'm hoping, respectfully, you guys lose every game in Memphis, obviously. But having said that, like the sort of mid-majors, which I think is an insult, but it's a good mid-major like North Texas, you usually have to win your conference tournament to get in. Like the CUSA has been a 1-bid league for a while. The AAC, I'm sad to say, isn't much better. So the reality is, like, do you think being from a school that has to win to get in historically helps the TBT run? I guess that whoever wants that answer, I guess, like, who wants to take that one?
Yeah, I'll take it. I think, you know, I'm a huge proponent of what Conference USA has done as far as in March Madness. I mean, you look back at the biggest upsets going back to UAB beating Iowa State. Middle Tennessee had 2 or 3 years where they were rolling through teams. Marshall went in there and beat Wichita State, and then UNT went and upset Purdue.
Thank
I mean,
God.
they just had a really good track record. I think you're right. That just shows you that when it's time to play single elimination, win or go home, these teams that have to win show up.
Yeah, speaking of have to win, I guess it's a good time to bring up the deck and get into the bracket. And it's a fun one here. Let's bring this back up. We have our deck here. Let's talk about this a bit. So, first of all, this is Lubbock's first host, and they haven't been to Texas, I don't know if in a while or even ever. It's been at least a while. Texas, I don't think Texas has hosted this, at least in a while. So we were in Lubbock. The host Air Raiders are your 1 seed. Purple Hearts, a new cause team we'll get to in a minute, is your 8. The Enchantment, New Mexico alumni, were the hosts last year. Now they're taking their show on the road. They're going to play a sort of soft host in Austin zone with a little bit of juice. We'll talk about why that's a juicy matchup, mainly in the second round. HBCU's come off a great run last year to the Super 16, much like you guys at the famed Rucker. In the Lab, a lifestyle brand, entering a team, sort of some fun we'll talk about. You guys, the 2 seed, go from the hunter to the hunted, which will be interesting, against new squad, the promising Rise and Grind. Now, Zach, what's it feel like to, again, that nice 2 seed looks really nice. Last year, I believe you were a 7. Is the weight of expectations going to be something you think about in training camp?
I feel like being at North Texas and playing under our coaching staff and kind of just going through that process, we have, obviously been picked last throughout most of our preseasons. And it is nice to have that little chip on your shoulder to really go and try and chase that. But I feel like we've been put in a position to where we can handle a lot, no matter what, anybody thinks from the outside. It's more about what's going on inside of our program.
Now, JJ, how far away is North Texas from Lubbock?
It's actually the same distance from Wichita, so it's going to be about a 5-hour drive for us from Denton.
JJ, how far away is civilization from Lubbock? That's just mean. I have a friend that actually went there. He said Lubbock's really nice. He actually went there for grad school, so I won't speak ill of it, actually. Okay, so let's get into this a bit. Let's talk a little bit about this. So we've got, first of all, we have the Air Raiders team. A lot of talent on this team. Obviously, Matt Mooney is sort of your highlighted player. Tariq Owens is playing in Summer League. So who knows? Maybe one thing that's really weird about TBT is that obviously guys will get Summer League deals. We might talk about some roster stuff with Bleed Green later. We may or may not. But there's a really nice roster, some shooting, some size. Now, DJ, you've been attached to a team that played against these guys, right?
Yeah, in 2017-18, we made a run in the CBI. We won the championship, and our first round game was against South Dakota at South Dakota, and they were rolling that year. I mean, I think they won 25 games, and Matt Mooney was their best player. So we got to play against Matt Mooney before he went to Texas Tech, and we've seen firsthand the type of scorer he is, and he's an experienced player. So he's really, really good.
It's also interesting to see these sort of guys. I mean, he's putting up, 13 in Turkey A. Kyle Edwards is playing. The Motor City Cruise putting up points in the G League. So these guys have some really high-level domestic and international players. Got some Italy A in here. I mean, a lot of really quality players in here. So this is going to be a pretty dangerous host team. And plus, it's always nice to be a host. Has anybody talked about North Texas trying to get a host?
There's been some rumblings, in Denton. But I think kind of our run this year will kind of help dictate the possibility of that. But we think we have a good central location where we have the support from our athletic department. So I think the ball's in the TBT's court to make that happen. But I think our fans will love it. I think we would have a good turnout here in Dallas. And for us, I mean, from a planning standpoint, we would love it. I think me and DJ, that would make things a lot easier for us logistically. But we think, we're pretty set up here to get a regional.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be, I would say having flights that are direct. I think Lubbock, you have to transfer 3 times. I think you have to transfer somewhere. I think you have to transfer to like a carrier pigeon at some point. It's a little bit tough to get there, I think. We were actually talking about where to visit, and we were looking at Lubbock, and I saw the flights, and I'm like, I'm not going to Lubbock. No, there's just no way. It's too far away. Might as well be at UTEP or something, Okay, we got Purple Hearts now. Now, this is an interesting thing to bring it down just 1 second, is what we have here at Purple Hearts is a cause team. And people who follow the event know there's a lot of alumni teams. In fact, there's probably more alumni teams this year than averages have been. But this is a team talking about they're dedicated to raising awareness of gun violence. This is what's called a buy team, I believe. I think they purchased their spot. I'm not 100% sure about that. So usually these teams are on the lower seeds and they try to make a run with the sort of goal being to be someone like Sideline Cancer, who started off, I believe, one year they were a 22 seed out of 24 in the bubble and rode that all the way to the title game. So you can bring notoriety and funding for your cause by going deep. So this is a interesting way to go. Obviously, Antonio Ballard has played in this event with the Mid-American Unity. So they have some TBT experience on this team. You guys were a low seed. What kind of and you guys were a low seed who had to basically play Wichita and Wichita. What is a lower seed? I guess we can ask this of DJ. What does a lower seed face when playing on the road to a host team in this event?
Yeah, it's tough. It's definitely not what you want to see right out of the gates. After our game last year, we stuck around and we watched when D3 played Wichita. And it was just, I mean, the crowd, it was almost like they were a sixth man. I mean, it was an electric atmosphere. Before you know it, they were down 10-0. So it's definitely a tough feeling to overcome for sure. But I'm telling you, like the teams like Purple Hearts, when they're playing for something bigger than themselves, those are the teams that they're not worried about outside noise. You know, they're just tough and they love playing with each other.
Yeah, playing for a cause definitely gives you something to sort of rally around. Because, I mean, the most successful teams in this event are the ones that are well-organized alumni teams and also ones that really have a cause everybody believes in. Like last year's run for Autism Army, for example. I mean, 3 of their children have autism, and they use that as a binding thing, and they really had a really miraculous run all the way to the final. So it can happen. It's an interesting thing that, you know, possibly we can get out of this. Okay, now looking at the 4-5 matchup, and this is interesting. The Enchantment, pretty quality squad against the Austin's Own, which is your Texas alumni. So the Enchantment, interesting. They're only 1-2. They've only won one game in this, but they have hosted. They got a fairly winnable first-round game last year against the Panamaniacs, which are their sister school, the New Mexico State Aggies. They got to play against. But it's interesting because, like, most alumni teams have to balance out the alumni base versus your just getting players. It's kind of interesting that your best player on the team is probably Scott Bamforth. But interesting thing is they actually have a coach who is Kenny Thomas, who's a longtime NBA player. So I'll ask this of Zach. Like, when you see a team that's coached by a former NBA player, does that sort of add a level of respect for his players, or is it not really a big deal?
I mean, you obviously respect guys, you know, have played in the NBA, coached around the league, but it doesn't really do much for the team. You know, they're going to come with some good actions, good sets, and, you know, you have to be ready for that. But outside of that, I mean, everybody has to go out there and play. You know, they can't play for the guys on the court. So you just kind of have a different element of what you're expecting from the team.
Definitely. And I'll ask this of JJ. JJ, I know you probably are keeping what's in front of you. You guys have Rise and Grind. You have your next game, and the next game is the important game. You got to do this one game at a time, you know, just one step in front of the other. But if you start looking at the left side of that bracket, like, do you see that as interesting that there's a lot of sort of your, for lack of a better term, flagship alumni on the left and maybe sort of your smaller alumni on the right? Is that sort of an interesting thing about for the scouting?
I mean, yeah, like me and DJ have talked about it. I mean, as players, you have to take it a game at a time. But in our shoes, we can kind of look ahead, and, you know, it doesn't really affect, you know, our team, and we have to look ahead because from planning purposes. So we've looked at every team in the regional, and yeah, I mean, obviously we want to, you know, there's this particular matchup that we want, you know, in the championship game. So we've kind of looked into that a little bit, but for us, we have the first game on a Wednesday. So, I mean, we look forward to kind of watching these other games and seeing those two alumni teams go at it.
You just said something. I'm going to put you on the spot here. You don't have to answer it, but you just said there's a game you'd like in the regional final. Do you want to talk about that now, later, or not at all? I'm just curious.
Well, we'll see how y'all's predictions
play
out, and we'll go.
That's fair. Okay, that's fair. We'll talk about it on the predictions page. That's actually fair. That's absolutely fair. Now, this team's a little fun. This is the Austin's Own. We actually have bonus content we're going to release after this. We're doing bonus content with every preview, a separate small interview. And we actually had some guys from Austin Own. We had their GM, and we had Chandre Jones, who was fresh off being cut by the Air Raiders, which is interesting. I like how you can cut a guy who's got, you know, 31 appearances in the G League this year. That sounds like a really interesting. Scores 20 a game in TBT. Let's cut him. That's a questionable decision if you ask me. But again, their loss, Austin's own gain. Pretty nice roster. I did also hear they KD has already gotten them some shoes, which is kind of nice. So I'll ask the difficult question of JJ Murray, or either JJ or DJ, whoever wants this. Texas is the flagship university of school. Is there a chip on the shoulder if you were able to play a team like this?
I can answer half of this and let DJ answer the other half. I think it's more so for our fans, right? I think our players won't look at Austin's own any different than we would look at Rise and Grind. But from the reality of Texas won't schedule North Texas, I think our fans would enjoy us coming out of this regional from a, just a pride and a school spirit standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, you got to keep what's in front of you. Obviously, Rise and Grind, Texas, both quality schools, but definitely that's you got to stay what's in front of you. Did you want to add to that, DJ?
No, I think JJ hit it on the head. I mean, any opportunity you get to compete against a school with a name brand, you're gonna, you'll take advantage of it. So we'd love to play a team like Austin's own for sure.
Now, Zach, I'm looking at the squad. There's actually a lot of size there, and you're going to be one of Bleed Green's bigs. If you get this far, obviously you can hold your own, but do you see yourself needing ice packs after?
I mean, when you get to this point of your career, you kind of do that after every game, regardless. You try to be as fresh as possible, but I might need a few more extra few places after that one.
Definitely. We'll see if somebody can send Kevin Durant home unhappy. Maybe you can talk about Texas losing on one of his 17 Twitter burners. Okay, so let me see. HBCU versus in the lab. Now, this one, to me, strikes me as interesting. I think HBCU is really good, not tip my hand, and not because of necessarily Kyle O'Quinn. Kyle O'Quinn is obviously a great player. He's played in the league for multiple years. He's now playing overseas in the high league. But this seems like another place to mention these rosters tend to not have everybody show up. We interviewed Robert Jones, who's their head coach earlier in the season. Seems like a really good guy. We actually asked him, is Kyle going to show up? And he said Kyle is committed to playing. Having said that, overseas money sometimes comes in, something happens. Every TBT team has some roster churn between roster bid and obviously the start of it. So it wouldn't shock me if O'Quinn doesn't show, simply because it seems like that would be a track record thing. Having said that, they got to the Super 16 without him last year. And I had the privilege of going. I'm based in New York. I got to go see Rucker. Look, I mean, it was an electric atmosphere, and Jermaine Morrow was amazing. Like, I've never seen him play before. Played for Hampton, a smaller school. He plays in Denmark now. But, I mean, he was the truth. He played amazing. They had a really nice squad, and they were built for the pressure of Rutgers. So I could see them really being kind of a force in this. Obviously, you guys are scouting Rise and Grind, but I assume you've started to look at this. So I guess I'll ask this of JJ. Like, on this roster, who worries you the most?
I mean, you probably go with Kyle O'Quinn just because of the name. But I mean, I think like we've talked about it, HBCU in general, I think their team specifically is not scary, but like they remind us of like how we would want to play, kind of like super tough. They play hard. So that's a game you definitely have to kind of go into being ready for a tough physical game.
It's interesting you meant physical, because a lot of TBT is about road, not just seed. People make the mistake of saying, oh, I want a 1, I want a 2. And the numbers quite legitimately do not matter at all in this event. They're just for press and BS. What you want is a road. And having to play them in the second round, if you guys survive Rise and Grind, could be a pretty physical matchup. And it might leave you a slight disadvantage playing. So the physicality seems to be more on the right side of the bracket than the left. Zach, are you seeing the same thing I'm seeing? Is the physical stuff more on your side of the bracket, not the other side?
Oh, for sure. I mean, this HBCU team, I know a couple of guys. Actually, one of their forwards I played with in Portugal this year, Saquon Jameson. And I mean, practicing with every day, super physical dude. So, they're going to have some toughness to their team. But I feel like, you're playing against pros and experienced guys. And so, to get to that level, you have to have some physicality, especially inside. So I feel like throughout, the entire tournament, kind of almost any team you come against, you're going to see that same physicality. Obviously, some teams have a little bit more depth in those positions, but I feel like it'll be about the same all around.
Yeah, it should be. It should be a pretty interesting matchup if you both are able to protect your seeds. Looking at this in the lab, I don't know a lot about this team. We're trying to catch up a bit. They're a first-time team. They're basically a lifestyle brand. Does anybody know anything about this brand? First of all, I don't know a lot. Anybody heard of In the Lab?
I don't. JJ, do you know about the brand?
Yeah, I've heard of like I don't know if they're associated with like the 10,000 hour videos, but that's kind of all I've heard as far as In the Lab.
So the good news is they're probably in this event to make sure people like us who are into basketball don't say that again. Maybe this is going to get them some more watching. So we have to figure out what In the Lab is. I mean, there's a really nice player here, a really nice team here. Some nice players for a lower seeded team. Get some G League guys, some guys can ball. Guy played for the Ignite. Cameron Young's probably their best player. He played for the Ignite. How do you think playing specifically not just in the G League, but for the Ignite? Maybe I'll ask this to Zach. The Ignite obviously are the ones that are sort of the professionals playing with the younger guys, trying to get your Jalen Greens ready for the league. Do you think that actually is a pretty interesting experience for something like this to play for the Ignite?
I would say so. Ignite, you do have those high prospects coming in, kind of trying to bridge that gap between high school and the NBA. And so playing around those guys, you have to be competitive. You're going to get a lot of attention. And so, yeah, I feel like it really can help add to your game, and going into like a TBT aspect. I feel like it does kind of have the same kind of vibe to it. You're kind of put on a team with a bunch of guys that are looking to, kind of prove something to an extent. And so I feel like it'll be a little bit more natural for him.
Definitely. I mean, we'll see. I mean, I think it'll be hard pressed to win a game, but Cameron's played in this event before. They have a couple guys. Also, I think Address has played for this event before. So you have some guys who have played in this event before. So maybe they can spring an upset. I don't find it likely. Hey, to the main part when we're here. So we talked about the fact that me and Charge disrespected the hell out of you guys last year. Obviously, Eberline Drive's friend of the program. They're going to be doing their preview for Louisville. In fact, Jake and Matt are good friends of ours. And we're like, oh, yeah, they'll be fine. And I believe we just get to eat shit. We just basically got it wrong. You guys just went there. You took their lunch, money, you beat them. And you also beat a Kansas team in Kansas. So I'll ask the question of Zach. How do you repeat the run of last year to even go farther? Like, what's it going to take this year now that they're chasing you, not the other way around?
I think the main thing is what even JJ had said earlier. You gotta just focus on the game ahead of you. Can't underestimate anybody. We know we were in that position last year, and we know how it feels trying to come out and prove something. So we're still ourselves trying to kind of do the same thing, though. We feel like we could always gain some more respect and put on for, the University of North Texas. That's kind of why I really enjoy playing TBT for Blues Green, is it's representing the school, because it's a great school and it deserves a lot more respect than it gets.
Okay, so also then again, it's interesting you say that too, because we were talking earlier about the rosters having some flux. And DJ, we were talking a little bit about this. I'm listening to players not going to be playing for you guys, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you say Shannon Shorter?
Yeah, Shannon Shorter.
Yeah, so Shannon, we got a lot of respect for Shannon. He's near and dear to our heart. He's a huge reason why we were able to get into the tournament last year, because of his pedigree. And he just has an opportunity to go, frankly, make a ton of money in China for a couple months. So he's doing that, and he's sending a lot of his love and support our way. And he's actually, did a little recruiting for us and helped us get one of our big guys, Brett Reed.
Definitely. I mean, it's interesting. So I'll ask JJ that question. In fact, we have a little chat to keep us all on the same page. And JJ asked, why is DJ on the roster? So this is a good time for me to mention my intern who does our stats. We thank them, too. They do a wonderful job, but occasionally they mess a few things up. So, DJ, are you going to suit up this time?
I don't think so. I mean, we would have to see like 3 or 4 rolled ankles for me to get out there. I mean, we would have to be damn near have 5 guys. That's about it if I was going to suit up.
Zach, can DJ throw an entry pass?
Hey, DJ is used to playing. We've had a few times, playing with 6 guys, and so I feel like DJ is ready for that moment. But yeah, as long as he can throw it in there and maybe make a couple shots, I think he'd be all right being out there.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. So, JJ, you guys aren't going to have shorter. Collectively, obviously, you still have a nice roster. So, how do you replace the scoring and leadership? Like, is this going to be a collective effort?
100%. I mean, we think highly of our guards that we have on our team. So, I mean, Brandon Jefferson, Jordan Stevens, Jordan Duffy, Jordan Williams, Kai Huntsberry, James Reese, like all those guys are going to have to, kind of step up and, fill that void. But we're going to sleep pretty comfortably with that stable of guards that we have.
Yeah, definitely. So, people might keep up, and here's your guys. You're playing the Rise and Grind. This is kind of a new team. A lot of guys from D2, D3, NIA. And we were talking off cameras, like they're probably one of the least regarded teams. Not bad, just least regarded in this field. There's been open questions about why they're in ahead of teams like Primetime Players or the Crew. And if you ask me of the teams in the dance of the 64, they're probably pretty close to number 64 of getting in. Let's just be honest. Doesn't mean they're bad, by the way. Every team in TBT is dangerous. It's not disrespect, just because of the lack of story. So since I'm giving them the same curse as a 7 seed I gave you guys last year, JJ, am I screwing you guys by even saying this?
I think you're trying to get a reaction out of us. I think that's what you're trying to do. But no. I mean, DJ, you can quote what we talked about earlier, as far as like you have to kind of go through it to really understand. I don't know it verbatim, but like we've been in their shoes, so we know like they're gonna come in here. I mean, and they're gonna play their best and try to beat us. But I mean, we're not gonna overlook them.
DJ, is he right? Is that kind of the mindset?
Yeah, I mean, when we were like pushing really hard to get into the tournament last year, the big thing that Dan kept telling us is, hey, if you want to be in this tournament, you have to show that you're committed and show that you're well organized. So to your point of why did they get in, it's probably because behind the scenes they're well organized. Mm-hmm. So they are dangerous. If you're well organized and you have guys who want to be there, you're going to be dangerous. So that's why I think they're going to be a really good team.
Yeah, I mean, and by the way, when I say they're one of the last teams in, I don't mean that as disrespect. Like, there's a lot of dangerous squads who were the last teams in. I mean, the Jackson Underdogs were an 8 seed Memphis, and they whipped everyone's ass. So let's be clear: you're in this tournament, you can win it. All games are good. Now, Zach, a lot of these guys play D2, D3, NAIA. Obviously, you played D1. Do you think being a high-level baller who did a lower division gives them the extra chip on the shoulder, which makes them even a little more dangerous?
Yeah, those guys do. I feel like have a little extra chip. I mean, you even see guys overseas a lot. Come from D2, D3, and NAIA schools, and you couldn't tell the difference. Because at a point in time, if you can play, you can play. And I feel like having that experience kind of might even help them a little bit in the TBT. Just kind of being ruthless, really getting after it, and that's kind of what the TBT is for. You have to have guys that really want to win, and these guys have had a lot to prove and had a lot to overcome over the years to get to where they are now. So it just gives it a little bit more fuel.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because everybody's journey is different. Everybody starts at a different point, ends at a different point. And it's funny because even if you start at a D2 or a D3, it doesn't mean you can't be a pro. I mean, Devian George played for the Lakers for a decade, and he was a D3 guy, so it doesn't really matter where you start. You just have to kind of get to where you're going. Okay, let's get to the part where we piss everybody off. Here are the picks. We've got, obviously, Charge I put our lack of money where our big mouths are. And we did get Bleeker in the first round, but none of us got you win the thing. We don't have you. Well, I say that, and then why'd it freeze? See, this is the thing about having it on a stream. It just stuck. Let's try this again. Hang on. Technical difficulties here. Here we go. Let's get this working. Hang on. This is weird. All right. Hang on. It's on my screen. Let's just hide it and then resend it. This is weird. Guys, we're just building the suspense about the picks is what we're doing. That's what we're doing. Okay, there we go. There's the picks, finally. The size of the pile seems to be crashing here. Okay, so we both picked the Air Raiders over Purple Hearts. We both picked Austin's Own over the Enchantment. I think Chandra is going to be pissed enough to get them past the Air Raiders, in fact. I think Austin's Own will be in the final. Charge picked In the Lab because I guess he likes the fashion brand. I picked HBCU, having seen them play. We both picked you guys to win the first round. I think you guys are really good. I think he has you guys in the final going down to Austin's Own. I regretfully have you guys losing HBCU. No, I think actually both you and HBCU actually probably would beat Austin Zone. I think you would both win that game. So do we guys give you fuel again? Do we screw you enough to give you something to show people to get people pissed off?
I love this. I don't want to see anyone picking us to win this thing, But no, those are some good picks, though. I mean, yeah, you really can't. This region is really good. You really can't go wrong. But no, we love a little fuel in the fire. That's for sure.
Well, we're happy to help that. And frankly, since we didn't pick you, I mean, we already kind of screwed you by picking you to win one game's the problem. And I think Charge has you for 2. Actually, Charge definitely has you for 2. I only have you guys for 1. But so we talked about that though. JJ, is Austin Zone the team you want? Am I guessing correctly?
Hey, either of those Texas teams, I think would be a fun matchup for us and our fans, most importantly.
I mean, that's bragging rights for life if you win one of those games, right? Because they never schedule teams that they consider they don't want to schedule, right? I'm a Memphis fan. Beating Tennessee makes my entire year. Like every time we beat Tennessee, I'm happy for weeks. So I would assume when's the last time North Texas played Texas? It's been a while, right?
Oof,
I don't know.
I don't know the last time they played.
Yeah. It's been a minute. Well, hopefully we can see that. I would love to see that regional final. I mean, like I love the HBCU squad, but the winner of that Bleed Green HBCU squad, I think will be favored against whoever wins the other side. Honestly, I really do. I think the winner of your second round matchups getting out of here. I really do. But we'll see.
A lot of North Texas fans want to see that Air Raiders matchup because they want to see Grant McCaslin again.
Yeah. Love for Mac, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
You gotta do what you gotta do. Definitely. Well, guys, I really appreciate you coming on. Thanks for being so good natured about everything. Obviously a dangerous bracket. There's some really nice teams there. So, I mean, I think any team can walk out of here with this, and also any team could, lose in the first round. So, keep your hands up and good luck on this year's run.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us on.
Appreciate all you do for this tournament.
Thank you so much, man. We got co-GMs JJ Murray and DJ Draper and star big man Zachary Simmons as our guests. This is Andrew Hayner, and we, as always, are signing off.
Hope you enjoyed listening to Zoom the TBT with Charge and Hayner. Subscribe to YouTube, follow on Twitter, and give us your money.